Welcome to the Rise Together podcast weekly hot take series. Every week, we're going to bring you powerful stories and strategies from leaders who are making a real impact by building stronger, more resilient communities. Get ready to be inspired, motivated, and equipped with the tools to thrive in both your personal and professional life.
Hi, everybody. This is Beth Almaris with the Foundation for Family and Community Engagement. At the Foundation, we're really passionate about helping individuals and organizations build strength and resilience through skill-based education, online learning, and of course, leadership development. We have a great guest today. I'd like to introduce Shari Chernack, who is the Chief People Officer at Isaacson Miller. How are you doing today, Shari?
I'm good, thanks. How are you doing?
I am well, thank you. So why don't we start off with your company? Can you tell us a bit about Isaacson Miller?
Yes, Isaacson Miller is an executive search firm that focuses on the civic sector. So think higher education, academic medicine, nonprofits, associations, conservation, arts and culture. So really important institutions and ones that are particularly vital at this time. Isaacson Miller has been around for 40 years and is highly regarded as an executive search partner in the areas that I mentioned. And we've got just under 250 employees.
Wow, that's quite large. So you have been, since you're the chief, I love when we change the name of HR stuff to people officer. I just think that sounds, maybe it's my little nonprofit heart, but it sounds so much better to me. Like not just thinking of our humans as resources, but as actual people.
Yeah, well, I think it fits. It's funny, I just posted on LinkedIn on precisely that topic because a lot of organizations are changing, and my perspective is we should only change to the name if we don't already have it, if we are really a people-forward organization. And that's actually one of the things that I love about Isaacson Miller. It is a very high-touch organization. We care very deeply about our people. We've got a long tenure, so people tend to join and stay with us for a long time, if not for all of their careers. So that's wonderful. And another thing that I love about Isaacson Miller is that we are mission driven, given the organizations that we support, given that we are finding senior leaders for them at a time when leadership is crucial. There's really a lot to get excited about in the work itself.
Yeah. Well, so that's a great segue. So just hearing that is wonderful that your folks stay. I mean, that speaks volumes. What do you think? What are some of the things that your organization puts in place that really help employees connect and stay?
Yeah, I think we have a lot of advantages and things that we do that work in our favor in that regard. So, for starters, we have a kind of apprenticeship model in the sense that we have a fairly well defined ladder for some of our roles in which people can start out in a number of different roles and move toward a path to partners if that is what they want to be. We also have a fair amount of flexibility in terms of transferring internally. So that gives people the opportunity to move from one aspect of the work that we do to another. So for example, we've had people who have moved from client service into what we call central services, which are the services that support and enable our firm. So that is also an opportunity that some people choose to take. We have He provide robust opportunities for learning, not only in terms of learning that we create and curate and make available, but also in terms of giving people money to spend on professional development and education. So people have every year the opportunity to devote funds to their own professional growth. And then we have benefits that support people at all the different phases of their careers and their lives, and are fairly generous in the benefits that we offer, including also the flexibility to spend a certain amount monthly on things that might include wellness or other aspects of support for one's life.
That's amazing, especially kind of in the current landscape. I know often training, learning, and development kind of are one of the easy, well, not easy cuts, but they're one of the things that often get paused. So that's really great to
Mhm.
hear.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also fortunate, and we're fortunate as a firm, in that we have very talented people who are focused on learning, who are incredibly capable, and do a lot for such a small and mighty team. But it also, we think, creates a virtuous cycle in terms of what we spend and the time that we devote. In that it allows our people to grow their skills and also feel like there is an investment in them and in their growth.
Yeah, and that's hugely important. Um, for folks to feel that investment from their leadership, from the organization, because we do. I mean, we all put in so much hour. If you're working a full time gig, it's 40-hour minimum, and many times it's a lot more than that. So, feeling that kind of investment is deeply satisfying, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what would you say are some of the biggest kind of I don't know, barriers or issues facing human resources professionals right now? What's going on?
I think there are a few things that are challenging, some of which are unique to this moment. So we live in a time that is very polarized, that feels very fraught, in which people can feel impacted by what is going on in the world around them, to the extent that it impacts them personally. It could impact them professionally in terms of their ability to fully show up or to feel like they are at their best when they work.
Mhm.
So I think that is, I don't want to say it's not the first time it's ever happened, but there is so much going on in the country and in the world, and no matter how somebody is oriented in terms of their personal views, there is so much happening that many people feel like there is something, at least one thing that's happening that they personally care about, and that is impacting perhaps their emotional wellness or their ability to fully focus. I think that's one. I think in more broadly zooming back out to HR, there is continuously a laundry list of things that HR functions are responsible for doing, from the operational and compliance related, what I always call keeping the company out of court, keeping the organization out of court, and keeping it running,
Mm,
to the very strategic. How do we identify and develop leaders of the future? How do we think about talent? How do we work in an environment that may be different in terms of, maybe we all used to be together and now we're not? We're actually becoming a fully remote organization. So that is definitely a different way of working. And then there's just a lot of uncertainty in general, going back in some ways to what I said earlier and tied up with that. So organizations having to have a lot of different plans and have contingencies. That uncertainty seeps into all aspects of the business.
Sure.
So if HR is trying to do something around workforce planning in terms of thinking about changes to compensation, in terms of maybe making some sort of investment, and the organization doesn't know what is going to be happening in 3 to 6 months, let alone a couple of years out, some of those decisions become a little bit harder to make. They become more weighty in terms of we're having to be really cautious in terms of making some of those decisions.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a really, I'll call it an interesting time. It's a challenging time for sure, but hopefully there's also a lot of room for innovation and um, things. What are some of the ways that to go back to, you were talking about a lot of employees, just there's so much going on in the world. It can be a really heavy time. What are some of the ways that Isaacson Miller is kind of addressing either employee engagement or employee wellness? What are some of the things you guys are thinking about right now?
Sure. Well, I talked about some of the things that we do on an ongoing basis.
Right.
But I think some of the things that we're doing, um, beyond that, or that are relevant to the moment at hand, um, we are talking about some of the things that are going on and about the environment in as much as it can impact some of our clients. We know that it can
Mm,
impact some of our people. So I think acknowledging that as a firm, as leaders, and then also in one-on-one conversations, making sure that we are taking time to listen to people, to hear about concerns that they may have. We try to create space and time for people to spend time together. So I mentioned that we're becoming fully remote, but
mm,
we convene on our teams or in our practice communities a number of times a year, and that creates opportunity to build connection and engagement in relatively small groups. And then we also do some firm-wide engagement activities as well, because we want to balance the small group connection with a larger group connection. And then I think the benefit of being an organization that is long tenured, that does have a focus on people, is that it also is intended to create an environment in which people don't need to feel like there are certain topics that they would like to discuss but are reluctant to do so. And we can never know whether that is fully the case. Some people still may be cautious, but just to try and create that kind of environment of openness and caring. So I think when you think about those kinds of behavioral activities, the events, the conversation topics and communications that we have, and then you pair them up with the things that we do from a benefits standpoint, and from giving people the opportunity to focus on their wellness in that regard. Those we like to try and take care of our people in all the different ways that we can.
fantastic. Well, I mean, it sounds like you have an amazing organization doing such good work. So kudos. If folks are interested in connecting with you, Shari, and learning more, what's the best way to do it?
Well, thank you. First of all, I can't take credit because I'm relatively new. So, my leadership and my colleagues and my predecessor all have a lot of, get a lot of the credit for what the firm is. I like to think that they thought I'd be a good steward of all the things that we do. And there are certainly additional things that I am trying to put in place to further our ability to take care of people. And in terms of reaching me, LinkedIn is always the best way to do that. And I always love meeting people and cultivating a conversation and relationships from there. So I look forward to hearing from people, and thanks for having
Hi,
me
everybody.
on the podcast.
Thank you for joining us today on our Rise Together podcast weekly hot take series. We hope you've been inspired by today's stories and strategies for building stronger, more resilient communities. Remember, resilience isn't just about bouncing back. It's about growing through every challenge to become bigger and better. If you've enjoyed this episode, please make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with somebody who could benefit from these insights. Stay connected, stay resilient, and we'll see you next time.